Order, order. I call Peter to move the motion. Peter Aldous.
Thank you very much, Sir Robert. I beg to move that this House should consider Colleges Week 2024. Thank you, Sir Robert. It is a pleasure to serve with you in the chair, and I thank the Backbench Business Committee for granting this debate during Colleges Week, which runs from Monday until tomorrow. I should also point out that I chair the APPG on Further Education and Lifelong Learning, the secretariat for which is provided by the Association of Colleges, who, among others, I'm grateful to for the briefings and support they have provided ahead of this debate. The debate, Sir Robert, essentially falls into three parts. Firstly, celebrating the great work that colleges are doing all around the country. Secondly, highlighting where government policy and support is working. And thirdly, pointing out those areas where more work and attention are required so that colleges can realise their full potential for the benefit of those people and those communities that they serve. So, Robert, it's first important to celebrate the great work that colleges are doing. All around the UK, they are an essential part of our education system. They are firmly embedded in their local communities, where they are fully cognizant of the opportunities and challenges and the strengths and weaknesses of their local economies. They enable people of all ages and backgrounds to realise their full potential. They are key players in boosting local regeneration and levelling up, and in eliminating those gaps in skills and productivity which are in danger of ever widening. And they play a vital role in preparing people for the jobs of tomorrow, which all of a sudden are with us today in such areas as digital, AI, and the low-carbon fields. So, Robert, colleges touch all of our lives. English colleges educate 1.6 million students every year and employ approximately 103,000 full-time equivalent staff. 925,000 adults study or train in colleges. 608,000 16 to 18-year-olds study in colleges. The average college trains 950 apprentices. 100,000 people study higher education in a college. 23% of 16 to 18-year-olds and 27% of adult students are from minority ethnic backgrounds. 26% of 16 to 18-year-olds in colleges have a learning difficulty or a disability. 58,000 college students are aged 60 and over. In summary, Sir Robert, colleges do their job very well. 92% of colleges were judged good or outstanding for overall effectiveness at their most recent inspections. They do at times feel that they are doing this with one arm behind their backs, and I shall touch upon this shortly. Firstly, Sir Robert, I shall briefly highlight the great work that East Coast College are doing in the Waveney constituency. They now operate from 2 campuses, in Lowestoft, in my constituency, and in Great Yarmouth, in the constituency of my right honourable friend, the member for Great Yarmouth. They fully understand the challenges of coastal communities, those communities in which they are deeply immersed, and they work very closely with the local authorities, local businesses, the James Paget University Hospital, CFAS, that is the government's marine scientists who are based in Pakefield, next to Lowestoft, and the two universities which cover the area, the University of East Anglia in Norwich and the University of Suffolk, which is based in, it has its headquarters in Ipswich, but actually operates across Suffolk. In Lowestoft, East Coast College are active members of the Place Board, of which I'm also a member, that is overseeing the projects that are being carried out as part of the town deal. In their work, they have a specific focus on two particular areas. Firstly, the need in the health and care sector to support an ever-growing elderly population. They have put in place the Apollo project. This isn't a journey to the moon, but it's a 2-year workforce programme designed to address recruitment and retention challenges in the health and social care sector. Secondly, there are the opportunities emerging in the energy sector. Among other projects, there are the offshore wind farms anchored off the East Anglian coast, and there is the Sizewell C nuclear power project just down the coast. In recent years, Sir Robert, significant capital improvements have been carried out at East Coast College. These include the Energy Skills Centre in Lowestoft and the Eastern Civil Engineering and Construction Campus at Lound, which is midway between Lowestoft and Great Yarmouth. At present, the college's challenges centre more around revenue funding, and their needs mirror those of the rest of the sector, to which I shall now turn. The good news is that in recent years, there has been a realisation of the vital role that colleges have to play in providing people with the skills that they need to realise their full potential, to address regional inequalities, and to ensure that the economy fires on all cylinders. Some good initiatives have been put in place, such as the lifelong learning entitlement, and funding has improved, albeit from a low base. That said, significant challenges remain, some structural and long-term, and others deriving from the cost of living crisis and the long and sharp tail of COVID. The Local Government Association point out that the national employment and skills system is too centralised, short-term in outlook, and that no single organisation is responsible or accountable for coordinating programmes nationally or locally. This makes it difficult to plan, target, and join up provision. They also identify that poor quality, insufficient and fragmented careers, education, information, advice and guidance, that's CAG, is a persistent and key barrier to youth employment, notwithstanding the introduction, finally, of the Baker Clause in the Act from 2022. The Edge Foundation focus on the problem that is all around us, that of skills shortages that are getting worse. These shortages are numerous and have grown significantly. The rate of skills investment is in decline, and skills shortages have significant costs for UK businesses, the economy, and the environment. Focusing on a particular sector, that of engineering, which is important to me locally, as these are skills which will be much in need to fuel the transition to a low-carbon economy, Engineering UK, in their Fit for the Future Engineering Apprenticeships inquiry, have highlighted the variability and quality of training provision and the problems in recruiting teachers and trainers. Sir Robert, Colleges Week normally takes place in the autumn. However, this year, for good reason, it has been brought forward to the spring. Not only so that it is taking place in advance of the general election campaign, so as to provide the sector with every opportunity to set out their stall, but also to make urgent representations ahead of next week's budget, so as to meet many of the challenges which I have briefly highlighted. I would be most grateful if my right honourable friend, the Minister who's in his place, it's great to see him there, but I confess I was expecting the right honourable member for Harlow, but nevertheless it is great that he's there because this is an issue that actually he and I in the past have actually discussed a great deal. But I'd be grateful if he could convey some of these asks to my right honourable friend, the Chancellor of the Exchequer, in advance of his budget statement next Wednesday. Firstly, as I've mentioned, there are these skills gaps across the country in all sectors of the economy. To eliminate these gaps, I would urge the government to invest the extra money raised from the immigration skills charge so as to enable colleges to tackle the urgent priorities identified by both employers in the local skills improvement plans that are now being rolled out across the country, and also that are found in the increased number of skills shortage vacancies that have been revealed in the latest Department for Education employer survey. In October, at the Conservative Party conference in Manchester, my right honourable friend, the Prime Minister, quite rightly announced a 10-year plan to give young people a better start in life through the advanced British standard, with more hours, a broader curriculum, and extra help for those who have struggled up to the age of 16. These ambitions, Sir Robert, are the right ones, but if they are to be achieved, we must start investing now if there is to be any chance of having the teachers, the trainers, and the facilities in place to deliver them. To do that, 3 issues need to be addressed. Firstly, the pay gap between those teaching in colleges and in schools must be closed. The gap has been widening in recent years and now stands at £9,000 per annum. This pay gap cannot persist if the advanced British standard is to be a success. Secondly, colleges are also disadvantaged when it comes to VAT. Unlike schools and colleges, VAT is not reimbursed. It cannot be recovered. Colleges in England were reclassified as public sector organisations back in 2022 and are now subject to all the controls that apply to academies, but unlike academies and schools, they are unable to reclaim VAT under the Section 33 refund scheme. This could be addressed by amending the 1994 VAT Act regulations. The funds that would be released, totalling around £210 million, could then be reinvested, helping colleges to deliver the improvements to the school system which the government is seeking. Thirdly, as I've mentioned, Sir Robert, COVID has had a long and sharp tail, impacting harshly on young people's education. The government recognised this with providing funding for tuition support to help those with the greatest need to obtain the necessary grounding in English and maths and to catch up on those vocational courses where assessments were deferred. That was good news, but the indications are that the demand for these lessons and courses is still growing. It is estimated that approximately 40,000 more students than last year need to resit their English GCSEs and 20,000 for maths. I would therefore urge my right honourable friend to do all that he can to ensure that the funding for this tuition support is extended. Sir Robert, I'm reaching my conclusion. I'm quite sure that in this debate, other colleagues will refer to FE and colleges as being the Cinderella of our education system. This indeed is what happened in the past. This was right in the past, but my sense is that across the chamber, all parties have recognised this error and indeed the folly of this particular way, and we are now, after a long, long time, travelling down the right road with the importance of vocational learning as provided by colleges being acknowledged and accepted by all. However, we are driving down this road in third gear. And what we now need is for government to provide the resources, the support and the more policies so that we can quickly and seamlessly move into top gear. If we do this, we shall provide opportunity for many, and we will eliminate all of those stubborn gaps that I have referred to a great deal during this speech. Thank you, Sir Robert.
The House has considered Colleges Week 2024. Andrew Jones.
Thank you very much, Sir Robert. It's always a pleasure to serve under your chairmanship, and may I congratulate my honourable friend for Waveney for securing this debate with the Backbench Business Committee, and through it marking and celebrating Colleges Week. I wanted to contribute because I want to speak in support of the colleges of our nation. Our colleges are such a significant part of our education system. My honourable friend has outlined some of the very powerful statistics when he was making his case so eloquently a moment ago. But one really jumps out at me, and that is that over 1.5 million students, 1.6 million students are educated at colleges in England every year. They play a critical role in delivering the skills that our nation and our economy need. Now, I visited many colleges some years ago when I worked on apprenticeships, and they were great visits. But there was one feature from them all that I would just like to really draw out and comment upon, and that is the links between colleges and their local employers. And through those links, they provide the workforce that the companies need now, but also develop skills programs for the future. Now, we're seeing huge changes in the global economy as countries face the challenges of sectors and routes to market that are going digital. And of course, there's the overarching challenge of net zero and the consequent decarbonising, and how that is creating new skills, new industries, and a requirement for significant training. Well, colleges are right at the forefront of meeting those challenges. So skills based on partnerships and local insight, apprenticeships, and each college, as my honourable friend from Waveney just mentioned, each college, on average, training 950 apprentices. But of course, professional development, careers change, and people of all ages will need to reskill as industries develop. And colleges are training tens of thousands of people aged over 60. So it's important to keep investing in these areas for our future national prosperity. I must add, I don't think it's something that the UK has valued enough over past decades. There has been some kind of underlying assumption that university degrees is really what the system should be focused upon. And that is, of course, right for so many, but they are not the only definition of excellence. I see opportunity and excellence much more widely. I see it in our college network, and spreading the word about the range of choices that people have is one of the benefits of College Week. And also, I perhaps should congratulate the Minister as well for a policy change that has put apprenticeships quite recently onto the UCAS website. I think that is an absolute game changer. The feedback that I have had from school visits or from group visits in Harrogate and Knaresborough is that this has been a highly successful initiative, and people have become aware of apprenticeships. It's almost like giving them a parity of esteem, which has not been present before, but it has certainly boosted knowledge in a very, very positive way. We're obviously here supporting colleges today, and the case made by Malcolm from Waveney has been very powerful. But it is also, I think, fair to say that colleges have not fully received the attention that their success and scale merits. He used the phrase, formerly a Cinderella service. That might be a little strong, and I think people have woken up to that. But this opportunity that Colleges Week presents is really great, therefore, to be able to pay tribute to all of our colleges and all that they achieve. I'd just like to highlight a major development which is taking place just this week at Harrogate College, and also to congratulate the team at Harrogate College and the Luminate Education Group for their work on this. The development that I'm talking about is a £20 million scheme to replace the main building at the college and construct a renewable energy skills hub. This is in effect a totally new campus. It is very exciting and a real game changer. Preliminary work started just this week and full construction starts next month. Energy efficiency is being built in and will help the college deliver its plans to be carbon neutral by 2035, and the upgrade will see state-of-the-art facilities on campus, including a mock hospital ward, an electric vehicle workshop, and a construction centre that will focus on renewables and the building methods of the future. And this basically goes straight to my earlier points about the links between colleges, local companies, and the skills that they need. They simply are proof point of the wisdom of that policy. The college principal, Danny Wild, has kept me posted throughout the development of this great project, and I've been able to speak with ministers and do all that I could to help get it over the line. 16 million of the 20 million total budget is coming from the Department for Education's Further Education Capital Transformation Fund, and transformation is indeed what we are talking about here. It will make the college future-proof, their words, and consolidate their position as the leading provider locally of T-levels. It's also anticipated that this will be open for students in summer 25, so that really isn't long for a project of this scale and ambition. So apart from providing better facilities for those there, I think this will send a major signal that Harrogate College and all that it does is both aspirational and of highest quality. Basically, students will be equipped with the skills for a new era. But when we see college investment and college success, it isn't just about that small initiative, it's the whole of the economy that will benefit in an area. Now, we have a strong local economy, but the companies within it often report difficulties in filling vacancies. The unemployment rate locally is 1.8%. This project will help fill those vacancies because it will help tackle skill shortages. So well done to Harrogate College team. I'll be visiting shortly. I'm looking forward to it very much. But I know that there are positive developments right across the country. There is much to celebrate all over, but I wanted to just highlight and celebrate this local news. And I look forward to hear very much what the Minister has to say to ensure this sector is front and centre in our educational system.
To frontbench wind-ups, the opposition spokesman, Seema Malhotra.
Thank you, Sir Robert. It is a pleasure to serve under your chairship and to speak in today's debate. It is also, I think, right that we pay tribute to the Honourable Member for Waveney for securing this debate today. I know he's incredibly passionate about FE and the skills sector and has raised a number of very important points that I will also address. And I also acknowledge his work through the APPG, in which I'm a passionate supporter, and to the Association of Colleges for their work as Secretariat. Let me also thank all of our colleges up and down the country for the vital contribution that they make to our national skills system and to young people and adult learners across the country. And in addition to the Association of Colleges, I think it's also worth reflecting on the support and advice that comes from the SFCA, the AELP, and our qualification providers, including City and Guilds and others who have played an important role in the Future Skills Coalition too. But also this week we saw FE Week and City and Guilds putting on the annual apprenticeships conference, which was a very important part of pulling everybody together during this important week. And I also acknowledge the contribution made by the Honourable Member for Harrogate and Knaresborough, Harrogate and Knaresborough, because I think his important points on the engagement with employers and the work of Harrogate College and how it's helping meet local skills and workforce needs is a story that I think all of our colleges could share, and it's very good to hear the examples that he shared today. Now, the Honourable Member for Waveney did talk about how colleges play an important role around the UK in our skill system, but also being so firmly embedded in our communities. They understand the needs of our local economies, and they've played a very important role in the development of our local skills improvement plans. I know in my local area, Tracy Oust, who's the principal of West Thames College in Hounslow and also oversees the Feltham Skills Centre, has been pivotal, as I know many other college leaders will be, in pulling together those voices so that we can be better matching the skills needs of our local economies with the provision coming through our colleges, and a deeper understanding with local authorities and other players the community needs in terms of learning requirements as well. And it is also in this context that our FE institutions truly stand as pillars of knowledge and ambition, but they're also beacons of adaptability and working together to foster an environment that encourages lifelong learning. One of the best parts of my roles as a shadow minister is getting across the colleges across the country to meet and to listen to learners and to colleges and employers as well. And that includes West Thames College and the Feltham Skills Centre, where there's very important wraparound work that goes on in terms of employability and mentoring, where I've seen recently the Institute of Couriers, who celebrate their logistics apprentices, and who indeed are in Parliament today to celebrate some of those achievements as well, and pay tribute to the chairman of the Institute, Carl Lomas, in all that he does with great enthusiasm, and building those links and investing in those colleges so explicitly that those apprentices I saw feel they know him personally. And that's a really important part of those relationships and that social capital around our systems. But also places like City and Islington College, where I spoke to students studying T-levels or apprenticeships and higher technical qualifications, adult learners who were upskilling, those working and learning at the National Academy for Nuclear, or health and aerospace apprentices in Milton Keynes, Newcastle and Liverpool. And last week at Southern City College in Birmingham to see the really important new facilities in robotics and electric vehicles and so on, connecting young people and adult learners as well, not just with the content of learning, but also the experience, hands-on experience with some of those new technologies as well. And also to launch my colleges tour over the next few months, which is more focused on how we're engaging with SMEs in our communities, what the barriers are, because the SME apprenticeships levels have been dropping significantly, 49% since 2016, and it's something we absolutely must turn around. Now, we know as a nation our number one priority is to help grow our economy so that we can invest in our public services and in greater opportunities for all. But to achieve those ambitions for growth, we also need to be investing in human talent to grow our skills and our workforces across all of our sectors and where there are skills shortages. And it is in that respect that we've seen colleges play that important role, thinking about how we deliver on skills for the green infrastructure, our creative industries, our life sciences sector, our public services, our everyday economy, including hospitality, and so on. All of those require workforces with specialised skills, and it is vital that we see pathways into high-quality vocational training and secure and enjoyable work for people across our country, and indeed the opportunity to upskill. I've talked to adult learners who have said to me that the qualifications they did 5 or 10 years ago are leaving them out of date compared to those coming through the system now. And bearing in mind that 9 out of 10 adults are likely to need some retraining in the next decade, this is important as part of all of our futures as well. And colleges, we know, are uniquely placed to help deliver on this combined mission of economic growth and improved life chances for all. Colleges provide an exceptionally diverse range of education and training courses to meet the needs of local economies, and they are centres of lifelong learning for people of all ages and all levels, as the Honourable Member so effectively highlighted. But just as it is important to acknowledge the successes of colleges this week, we must also acknowledge the challenges that they are facing. A number of those have been outlined, again, very eloquently by the Honourable Member for Waveney. But we know that, as an example, apprenticeship numbers have fallen, real terms funding for the FE sector had fallen to record lows, and vital decision-making powers have been taken away from local communities. The Conservatives have also overseen more than a decade of decline in skills and training opportunities, and I say that because apprenticeship starts have fallen by 200,000 since 2017. It is important to recognise the actual figures. I will give way in a minute. In every region, apprenticeship starts have fallen since 2010, and SME engagement with apprenticeships have fallen by 49% since 2016. I will just make some progress. I will give way, actually, very briefly.
I'm very grateful to giving way, and I apologise to the Chair. I won't be able to stay for the end of the debate because I have a meeting very shortly with the head of UCAS to talk about progression and issues of this sort. But I did just want to say apprenticeships, it's very important we compare like with like. Of course, it is a great thing that all apprenticeships now involve a year of work and a qualification. That wasn't the case under the last Labour government. But I do want to put on record my tribute to Heart of Worcestershire College and Worcester Sixth Form College in my constituency for the fantastic work they do in taking forward. And can I commend to both frontbenches the Select Committee report from the Education Select Committee on post-16 qualifications, which made a number of recommendations in this regard, including increasing the number of youth apprenticeships and setting a target, the proportion of apprenticeships that lead people into work.
I thank the Honourable Member for his contribution, and also for sharing the work of his colleges, which I know he is very well connected, and also to acknowledge his work as chair of the Select Committee and his report. And I just will make this point that it's important that we are clear about the figures that we're using, but it is also important to recognise that things have got harder, particularly for small businesses, since the implementation of the levy. And I do think those are challenges that we do need to address. And I think the important point he makes about apprenticeships, whether that's through level 2 and up to level 3, where the numbers seem to be are falling in proportion to apprenticeships as a whole, these are challenges that his committee has also rightly highlighted. And it's important for us that we make sure there are those pathways in post-16, and for those that may not have the same qualification achievement at GCSE, in order to have those some of those pathways in, and a point that I will make further in my remarks. I thank the Honourable Member for his contribution. Now, it's also true that the government is on track to miss the 67% achievement rate, with almost half of apprenticeships not being completed, and there are a range of reasons as to why. And in terms of some of the falls of apprenticeships, with level 2 and level 3 having seen some of the worst falls, there's 69% fall in the number of starts at level 2 and a 21% fall in the number of starts at level 3. Too many young learners and young people and adult learners also say they aren't aware of opportunities available to them. And colleges have also seen real terms funding cuts under successive Tory governments. Since 2010, spending per pupil has fallen by 14% in colleges and 28% in sixth form colleges. Sorry, in school sixth forms. Now, Labour will want to put colleges at the heart of our plans for breaking down barriers to opportunity and boosting Britain's skills. Central to this is also our plan to develop technical excellence colleges, enabling colleges in LSIP areas to specialise in the particular needs of their local economies and local businesses, driven by LSIP priorities. We know Whitehall doesn't have all the answers for what is needed in our local communities. That's why we'll continue to build on the already begun process of devolving and combining power and budgets for skills and adult education to combined authorities and local areas, so that the right decisions and the right priorities are led by those with the most local information and in the right places. These plans will empower FE colleges to take a lead in responding to local needs. And we see it as so important to reform the apprenticeship levy to become also in part the growth in skills levy, giving businesses the flexibility they need and employers to invest in skills and training and to continue to support SMEs to take up apprenticeships too. An estimated £3 billion in unspent levy has gone to the Treasury since 2019 that could have been spent on more training opportunities for learners and through that on training providers too, supporting capacity to grow the sector. This is not a system that is working as it needs to be. And bringing more flexibility is a policy backed by the Manufacturing 5, the British Retail Consortium, Tech UK, the Co-op Group, City and Guilds, and the list goes on and on and on. It is also vital that young people are aware of their post-16 options so that they know which routes are open to them and how to take them. That's why Labour wants to train over 1,000 new professional careers advisors. And I recognise the point also made about the fragmented advice and guidance that the Honourable Member made. But we want to train those 1,000 new professional careers advisors for students in our colleges and our schools and introduce 2 weeks of compulsory work experience for every student to connect them earlier with the workplace. There are also real concerns about the chaotic rollout of T-levels and the phasing out of many overlapping qualifications amongst college staff, a really serious issue raised with me, and young people. And the Protect Student Choice campaign estimates that 155,000 students could be left without an appropriate course of post-16 study if the government go ahead with these plans in this way. That's why Labour will ensure that all students are able to complete their qualifications and pause and review the proposed removal of courses until we can be sure that these reforms will not prevent young people from pursuing high-quality vocational qualifications. So in conclusion, Sir Robert, boosting Britain's skills will be a national ambition for Labour, led by Skills England, our new body, that will help provide some of that overarching national skills framework, connecting that with regional and local need, and which will bring together businesses, training providers and unions to meet the skills needs of the next decade across all of our regions. And colleges, I'm proud to say, will be at the heart of this ambition. Thank you.
Minister David Hines.
Well, Mr. Robert, it is a great pleasure to see you in the chair, and I join colleagues in congratulating my honourable friend, the member for Waveney, on securing this debate today in Westminster Hall on this very important subject. He mentioned earlier, and he's absolutely right, he and I have talked about these topics many times over many, I think it's probably fair to say now, years, and I do know his both his fervour of passion, but also his deep knowledge about the subject. And I thank him for what he does with the all-party parliamentary group on FE and lifelong learning. And also join him in thanking and congratulating the Association of Colleges. I, like many colleagues, had the opportunity just a little earlier this week to be over the road, the other side of Parliament Square, at the AOC awards event. It was great actually to meet an award winner from my own local college in Alton and their other campus in Havant, but also to see the huge variety of people benefiting from all that colleges have to offer. Both my honourable friend from Waveney and our honourable friend from Harrogate and Knaresborough spoke with passion about the importance of colleges, about the great work they do in educating and training people of all ages and backgrounds, and the key role they play in communities. They also talked, rightly of course, about the challenges that they face, and I don't argue with any of that. I'm the Minister for Schools, but I still know there's no more important subject than colleges. As the Minister for Schools, I see every day that we've got great schools educating our children, giving them a great education and a good grounding to take them wherever, whatever path they choose at age 16. We also, of course, have very strong higher education institutions delivering world-class higher education to young people, equipping them with that high-level education and skills they need. And then we have colleges, further education colleges, the filling, if you like, in the education sandwich. Like the best sandwich options, there is a variety to choose from, because colleges do just about everything, including all the things I've just mentioned. They do basic skills, they do English and maths, they do so-called level 3 provision, but and more recently the introduction, of course, of T-levels, but they do apprenticeships, as we've been talking about and I'll come back to adult learning. As my honourable friend from Waveney reminded us, colleges, further education colleges, FE, also do HE, higher education, and they do pre-16 provision for certain groups of young people as well. And to cap it all, some colleges even have their own nursery. So they really are doing the full range of education. And we're not talking jack of all trades. They don't just do lots of things, they do them very well. Latest figures show that approximately 92% of colleges were judged good or outstanding at their most recent inspection, which is quite an incredible figure. Now, our right honourable friend, the Secretary of State, and our right honourable friend, the Minister for Skills, visit colleges around the country frequently. I should say, by the way, the Minister for Higher Education, Further Education and Skills would have loved to have been here today, and he phoned me this morning to tell me he would have loved to have been here and to pass on his best wishes, and particularly in celebration of Colleges Week. It's just that thing of not being able to be physically in two places at once, otherwise he would have been. So Robert, they both meet staff and students and get to see firsthand some of the excellent work that they're doing, as I have had the opportunity to do in previous roles in the DFE as well. They are astounded by the range and breadth of high-quality provision that is on offer in fantastic facilities. Another key role that FE colleges carry out, and my honourable friend alluded to this rightly, is as agents of social mobility. Many learners in FE come from disadvantaged backgrounds, so our colleges are essential for ensuring that individuals from all backgrounds are supported to progress into employment or into further learning. For many years, colleges were unsung heroes. I think that is fair to say, doing fantastic work, but never really getting commensurate recognition for that work. That has changed now, because everybody understands, recognises the importance of what they do. And this debate today is a great example, I think, of that recognition. The skills agenda on which colleges play a critical role is one of my department's key priorities. Colleges are delivering our radical skills reforms, from helping individuals with basic skills needs right up to challenging the highest performers to reach their potential, and raising the status of technical education through the delivery of apprenticeships and the introduction of rigorous T-levels. It's easy for us to say that colleges are great, and we recognise all they do, but of course we need to back that up with support and with investment. And that's why we're making major investment in post-16 education, in which colleges, of course, are such a huge part. An additional £3.8 billion over this Parliament for education and skills. In particular, throughout this Parliament, we've consistently increased overall funding for 16 to 19 education year on year. This includes an extra £1.6 billion in 2024 to 25, compared with 2021 to 22, which is the biggest increase in 16 to 19 funding in a decade. FE colleges, like all 16 to 19 providers, have benefited from that investment. We're investing £3 billion in capital between 2022 and 2025, and that will improve the condition of the post-16 estate, deliver new places in post-16 education, provide more specialist equipment and facilities for T-levels, and deliver institutes of technology. And we recognise that issues for college aren't just about whether they have enough funding and how to make the funding stretch to deliver all the things they need to do. It's also about systems and procedures and bureaucracy, and these are things that colleges have told us we do need to address. Now, we've listened, and that's why we've consulted on reforming the further education funding and accountability systems, and last year issued our response. We've committed to simplifying funding systems and creating a single adult skills fund and a single development fund. We've already started delivering on these commitments, and will continue this work to reduce the bureaucracy associated with funding. We've also set out a much clearer approach to support and intervention for colleges, and we will also remove duplicative data collection and take steps to simplify and improve audit. All these things will help to minimise burdens on colleges and let them focus their efforts on delivering that excellent education and training. Now, of course, FE would not be what it is without teachers and teaching. Quality of teaching and leaders are the biggest determinants of outcome for learners, and that's why we're investing £470 million over the financial years 23-24 and 24-25 to support colleges and other providers address key priorities, including on recruitment and retention. And this funding has already fed through to colleges and other providers via increased 16 to 19 rates and programme cost weight increases from last September. It's part of a wider programme to support the sector to recruit excellent staff. This includes a national recruitment campaign, strengthening and incentivising the uptake of initial teacher education, teacher training bursaries, and the Taking Teaching Further training programme. We also announced £200 million to improve teacher recruitment and retention by giving those who teach key shortage subjects a payment of up to £6,000 tax-free per year in the first 5 years of their career. And for the first time, this applies to those teaching eligible subjects in all FE colleges. So, Robert, let me turn to some of the comments made by the Honourable Lady who speaks for the opposition. And look, this has not been, well, not even primarily, overwhelmingly, this has not been a party political debate today, nor should it be. We're celebrating Colleges Week, and that's something on which colleagues right across this House agree. And indeed, I welcomed a number of the things that the Honourable Lady who sits opposite said. But there were a couple of things which I don't think I can quite let go, and particularly on the subject of apprenticeships. And our honourable friend, the member for Worcester, was quite right when he said, if you're going to talk about apprenticeships, you must talk like for like. And it is, I'm afraid, the case that before 2010, there were some people who, when they were asked about the quality of their apprenticeship, didn't know they were on an apprenticeship. Now, we have changed that and underpinned the apprenticeships programme with guarantees of quality, the minimum length of the course, the minimum amount of time in college, the creation of IFATE, the Institute for Apprenticeships and Technical Education, and critically employer-designed standards. And this has made a very solid set of very high-quality apprenticeships, and I would urge her not to pursue the policy which she appears to be pursuing along with her party colleagues, to suggest that we should undermine those apprenticeships, have fewer of them, and instead create a new quango.
I want to thank the Minister for his comments, but and we don't need to get into a debate today. There are many other opportunities for that, and he is right on this, that it's important that we are not trying to create dividing lines where we don't have them in an area that needs stability and long-term planning together. But I do want to take him to challenge him on the point that he has made, because it is true that apprenticeship starts have fallen, and I'm not saying that there haven't been some changes that we have also supported through the passage of time. But where there are challenges, and we all know they are there, in terms of employer involvement in startups and employer fatigue that's starting because of the difficulties with the apprenticeship system as it is and the drop in SME engagement, it's really important the government acknowledges them. And also not to misrepresent Labour's call for reform, where up to 50% and employers, if they choose, could spend their apprenticeship levy up to 50% more flexibly, because too much of that is being returned to the Treasury, where employers are unable to spend the levy on any learning. And for most employers, it wouldn't make much of a difference because they're only able to spend about 50% of their levy, and that would not change. And indeed, perhaps if the Minister might also know this, that if we see more growth in the economy, you will also see more of the levy coming in, and you will see greater apprenticeships there too.
Well, so again, let us not have a party political debate. That's not the nature of this discussion today. But I can absolutely assure the Honourable Lady that I have not misrepresented the Labour Party policy in the slightest. She then went on to repeat it, which is to say that there would be less money guaranteed to be available for apprenticeships, and that would surely lead to a move away from those high-quality apprenticeships that I mentioned. I understand the attraction of listening to voices that say the levy is not a good way of doing things, but I have to tell her it addresses a fundamental problem that there is in the... Absolutely. And I'll come back to the fundamental problem in a moment.
But I thank the Minister again, but I think perhaps he does not fully understand the Labour policy, and that may be because he hasn't engaged with it in some detail. But the point is that on the growth and skills levy and the opportunity to spend on more modular courses and in more flexible learning, also creating the opportunity to build qualifications through more modular approaches, could actually support more engagement with learning, and indeed could contribute to less of the early ending of apprenticeships, where you're seeing you're not even meeting the targets of apprenticeship completion, and that is a real issue.
I assure the honourable lady that if there's any misunderstanding about the Labour Party policy, it's not because people have failed to engage with it, it's because it is not clear. One great benefit of the apprenticeship system we have is that it is clear. And I must tell her that the approach of the apprenticeship levy resolves one of the fundamental questions in investing in human capital, and investing in training, investing in people, which is the so-called free rider problem. For many years, there were some employers who invested strongly in their workforces, and then some of the members of those workforces, after a couple of years of having been trained, would get up and go to their competitor. And the levy is precisely to make sure that the whole of our economy, the whole of industry, has a like interest in developing those skills and investing in the potential of people. And I would advise her to be very careful in deciding to get rid of that and replace it with a new and unneeded quango. I turn, Sir Robert, to my honourable friend, the member for Harrogate and Knaresborough. In fact, he also spoke about apprenticeships and the quality of apprenticeships and the centrality of that. He also spoke about the importance of colleges to the whole local economy area, and particularly, and in fact I also have a constituency. I represent an area with a particularly low level of unemployment, though unemployment, of course, right across the country is low compared to historical norms, half the level, actually slightly less than half the level it was when the three of us first came into Parliament in 2010. But particularly in those areas of even lower unemployment, that skills matching becomes so absolutely vital for the local economy. And I also join him in commending and congratulating both Harrogate College and the Luminate Group in the work that they are doing on the Renewable Energy Skills Hub. And I think it's a great example of colleges being future-looking, forward-looking, being innovative, and making sure that both we are equipped with the skills for the future, but we're also creating facilities which themselves are contributing to that. And I come now to my honourable friend from Waverley, who has brought us here today, and we're all very grateful to him for doing so. He listed out some of the several ways in which colleges are vital to our economy and to our society. He too spoke of the importance of colleges in their local communities. He reminded us it is about people of all ages, and people, including people who perhaps didn't have that great an experience coming through education the first time, but that they can have another chance. But also people who had a fantastic experience the first time around and are further developing their skills, and about the jobs of tomorrow, and making sure that we can continue to adapt, and in so doing that we are offering social mobility to people throughout the country. He also talked about productivity, and that is so important here, Sir Robert. We know this country has long had, I mean, actually since the year I was born and beyond, and I'm 54, there's been a big economy gap, big productivity gap against the United States and Germany. In particular, it's improved, but it is still a gap, and we need to move further. And making sure that we can match skills to where they are needed and hone and sharpen those skills is incredibly important. He also spoke about the importance of colleges themselves as being big employers in local areas, and we should never forget that, but also particularly the importance of working with employers. And again, that's a subject also covered by our friend from Harrogate. I'd like to particularly note the work of Suffolk New College in leading on the local skills improvement fund for his area. And indeed, if I may, pay tribute to all the 3 colleges, I think, serving his local area, they being East Coast College, Suffolk New College and West Suffolk College. My honourable friend, quite rightly, we're getting close to a fiscal event, and of course my honourable friend put in his budget bids, and they will have been heard. He also talked about some of the progress that has been made, and the Baker Clause, I actually agree, it's not just for what it directly does, it's for the symbolism and the message it gives, that actually, all children should be able to know about the full range of what is available to them at age 16, and for some of those children, they will be better suited. Some will be better suited going to a school sixth form, some will be better suited going to a sixth form college, some will be better suited going to an FE college, some will be better suited doing largely an academic route, some will be better suited doing a technical and vocational route, and having those options made known and made known at a suitable time in that journey, I think is really important. T-levels, I think, are another, and of course colleges aren't the only ones who deliver T-levels, but they are at the centre of that great reform that brings more hours in college, brings English and maths and digital skills right in, integrated with the core vocational subject, and crucially, that 9-week, 45 days industrial placement, which when I meet young people who've been on T-levels and when I meet employers is the thing that they always talk about most, the opportunity to apply what I'm learning in college directly in a workplace and develop those workplace skills that we know are so valued by employers. And by the way, have an opportunity to see that young person in action in the workplace for an extended period. Higher level technical qualifications. And in development now, the Advanced British Standard. And he was quite right that in developing this landmark reform to fully remove the artificial divide between academic and vocational. In doing that, we need to start investing now. And we are investing now. And I do want to make that is such an important point to make, and it is understood across government. Now, when people think about a college, probably the first thing that comes into their head is probably the picture of a building. But actually, he and I and everyone here knows that actually it's all about people. And that is why those investments in people are so important, including the extension of the levelling up premium to further education colleges for the first time, the Teach in FE recruitment campaign running, the Taking Teacher Further programme. And we know there's a particular importance to, and sometimes challenging, getting people with recent industrial experience, so-called on the tools, into college to be able to impart those skills onward. And FE teacher training bursaries worth up to £30,000, depending on the subject, tax-free in academic year 24-25. Sir Robert, I'd like to close by thanking everybody who's taken part in this debate this afternoon, particularly our honourable friend from Waveney for tabling it and convening this important discussion. It has been very informative to hear from him and others about local issues, successes, and of course how much we value our colleges, love our colleges, to coin a phrase from Colleges Week. And that is the one clear thing coming from today's debate, is that we all recognise the importance, the value and the role of our colleges, as the strapline that I just mentioned makes clear. And I've set out today how we are backing our recognition of colleges through investment and support, by increasing funding, by investing in facilities and the estate, by reforming accountability and funding to reduce burdens, and by investing in programmes to support and boost the further education workforce. And I do hope and believe these things will benefit colleges and support them to deliver. And I know we ask colleges to deliver a lot these days, but that is because we know that they can deliver, and we know that they deliver incredibly well.
Brief final remarks. Peter Aldous.
Thank you, Sir Robert. I'm a shade disappointed because we had a high volume, not with the quality of the debate, it's we had a very high demand to take part in this debate, and we've not had as many colleagues here as I would have hoped for. But there are plenty of loads of demands on people's times. But what we've lacked in quantity, I sense we've made up for in quality, and I'm very much the one person out in this, in that of all the people who've participated, I'm the only one who's not had a front bench role. So, it's been very interesting to hear from me, from those on the front line, so to speak, their views on this. But just summing up, and the three of us on this side have all been here since 2010, and if we look at the journey that we've gone on, I sense that colleges are in a better place, generally speaking, today than they were in 2010. And in particular, when I look at the quality of the estate, that has certainly improved. But I think we just need to move on. The shiny new buildings are actually very, very important. But we do need the teachers and the trainers to be able to do the work, help the learning in those colleges. And that is where we have got a particular problem today. And if I look at the energy sector that East Coast College are having to deal with, we have a crying need for welders and fabricators. There is a real challenge in getting those teachers and trainers. The Baker Clause, Lord Baker fought for that for years. He took too long to get it, and he has now got it. I would just welcome at some stage how this is actually going down in practice, because I've not actually been around when I go around the community that I represent and say, that's a result of the Baker Clause. I'm not sure we pull a lever in this place, it doesn't automatically lead to a gear change in the rest of the country. The one disagreement we've had is on the issue of apprentices. And I think if you look where we were in 2010, where we are today, we generally are in a better place. But it has not been a smooth journey. There have been ebbs and flows along the way. And I am slightly confused by some of the statistics. And I would suggest that there may have been times 2 or 3 years ago that actually we were in a better place than where we are today. And I think one of the challenges is to get SMEs properly involved in the apprenticeship system. That moves on to the levy. The levy is a good idea. It's a great idea, and government was right to introduce it. But there are teething difficulties. There are challenges with money being returned to the Treasury. And the Honourable Lady who speaks for the opposition, she and I have been in events where I've actually said we do need to be pressing ahead with a review now, rather than waiting when all the hullabaloo of the election has taken place and doing it next year. It needs to go on, it needs to take place now, so we can, as I said, just iron it out and get it on the right journey. I'll finally come to my asks, if you like, my funding asks of the Chancellor. Now, this isn't, what ultimately this is about, is a level playing field. And it's a level playing field when it comes to VAT. Colleges are not on a level playing field with schools and academies. It's a level playing field when it comes to what teachers are paid. Again, they are not on that level playing field. And I think the final issue I would just touch on, again, when I look back over the time that I've been in this place, right back at the beginning, there were problems with, if you like, the colleges picking up the pieces of young people who, for whatever reason, hadn't acquired those basic literary and numeracy skills when in secondary education. And the colleges having to do that. That situation has improved dramatically. But COVID has thrown a big spanner in the works. And they're having to work very, very hard to address that. It's not going away immediately, and that is why they do need those funds to be extended. So, Robert, thank you for bearing with me for a few extra minutes. It's been a good debate.
This House has considered Colleges Week 2024. As many of that opinion say aye? Aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it, the ayes have it. Order, order. We suspend till 3 o'clock. Thank you.